1981 is filled with some all-time classics, some of the greatest movies ever made. You'll see that on this list. So it is time for us to continue in our ranking and review series of the 1980s. So join me and hop back in my virtual DeLorean as we hit 88 miles an hour and travel back to the year 1981 as I give you my top 10 picks for the best movies of 1981. Let's go. Yeah! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Cinema Sermons. My name is Kevin, and like I said, we are continuing in our review series of the 80s. You guys really liked the 1984 video. 1980 isn't doing so great, but that's all right because we're hopping right back into 1981, which this is where the decade really starts to pick up, and it's just banger after banger after banger. So go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Let me know your favorite 80s movie down below. And let's jump right into it. Coming in at number 10 for me is going to be Halloween 2. So this movie really isn't placed high on my Halloween ranking because it's really not that great of a movie. Just when I was looking at movies that came out in 1981, this was the only one that I've actually seen that I was able to enjoy, other than My Bloody Valentine. So we'll throw that in there as an honorable mention. That's when our Canadian friends tried their hand at a slasher, and it's actually pretty good. So if you're alone on Valentine's Day and you got nobody to love on you, go ahead and watch a slasher movie. It'll make you feel better. Probably not, but whatever. But Halloween 2 is the returning creative team of the original Halloween, which, as I've stated, is my favorite horror movie. Got director John Carpenter, producer Deborah Hill, director of photography Dean Cundy, and it has some pretty gnarly kills. It's the original mask, even though it fits Dick Warlock's face better, or differently rather. I don't really like his performance as Michael Myers, but it's an enjoyable enough movie. It's just not great, so that's why it comes in here at number 10. Number 9 is going to be a little indie movie that turned into something huge called The Evil Dead. So I'm much more of a fan of the comedic side of The Evil Dead. I don't like the dark and gritty. It doesn't make me feel good. But I have to give credit where credit's due. Sam Raimi created a franchise that is still going today with Evil Dead Rise that came out last year. And they're talking about even more movies. And then he remade it with Evil Dead 2, which we'll probably see at some point throughout this series. And what they were able to do, just a couple Michigan boys, which is great because I spent 16 of my 31 years in Michigan. It is, you know, I have two homes, Colorado and Michigan. Anyway, seeing a group of Michigan guys come together and just create a movie that was able to scare people enough to where they can make more movies, and now Sam Raimi has a very distinctive style. You gotta give credit where credit's due, and it's something that could have only happened in 81. So coming in at number 9 is the original Cabin in the Woods movie, The Evil Dead. Number 8 is gonna be The Howling. So this movie I actually just watched for the first time yesterday. I knew of it because I knew it was like the other great werewolf movie, and it was just always kind of overshadowed by An American Werewolf in London, which may or may not appear on this list. But I was like, let me go ahead and give it a shot, man. It seems people really love it. There's a ton of sequels. So I watched it, and it was really good. It does a really good job of just hooking you in. I was captivated the entire time. I wanted to watch what happened. And there's actually a death in the movie that hit me pretty hard, where I was like, no, I really didn't want that character to die. And when they can have a well-written character like that you actually care about, the movie did a good job. It has some great transformation scenes, great practical effects, and that brings it in at number 8. Number 7 is going to be Friday the 13th Part 2. I promise this isn't top 10 horror movies of the 80s. But Friday the 13th Part 2, this is where we see Jason Voorhees take over as the killer of the franchise. This movie has one of the greatest kills in the entire franchise, where the dude gets hit in the face and falls down the stairs. It takes, again, another murder mystery whodunit story, but it just takes everything that was good about the first movie and ramps it up. It does what a sequel is supposed to do. It's a good enough camp slasher, and it comes in at number 7. Number 6 is going to be Victory, or Escape to Victory, some people call it. So this is a wartime sports drama, and it's about a group of prisoners of war, POWs in World War II, who end up playing a game of soccer against the Nazi national team, the German national team, all while trying to orchestrate a plan to escape. I am not a soccer fan, so for this film to make me care about the soccer match, it's really well written. It makes you care about the characters. It has a fantastic cast of Max von Sydow, who was the old exorcist in the movie The Exorcist, Michael Caine, Pele is in this movie, and of course my guy Sylvester Stallone. He's probably my favorite actor. He's definitely my favorite action hero. So I'm gonna watch anything that dude is in, and it's just a really good movie, man. Victory, or Escape to Victory, if you haven't seen it, Go check it out, dude. You're not gonna be disappointed. It's just a feel-good, emotional story, and anytime Nazis get beat, dude, it's always a, you know, yeah. So coming in at number 6 is Victory. Number 5 is a very sentimental movie to me, Clash of the Titans. I remember my mom showing this to me and my brother when we were kids. It was a movie that she loved as a kid, and this movie is just so much fun. It's just a classic hero's journey, a classic hero's tale, taking on these mythological beasts of Medusa and the Kraken and that little horn guy. And he's got a Pegasus that he rides and this dope little mechanical owl. It's got Burgess Meredith in it. This is just a fun movie, man. I think it could benefit from a modern day remake if it's done well. The remake that came out in the 2000s wasn't really that good. But this original movie, man, it holds so much nostalgia for me. It is just a time capsule in the 80s where you could just get transported back and just feel all that just nostalgic fun, really, that came from that decade and really shines through in this movie, man. Clash of the Titans is great. It uses a lot of stop motion practical effects, and the effects don't really hold up, dude, but you're so wrapped up in the story and the characters and you want to see him succeed that you don't care. So, man, go ahead and check out Clash of the Titans if you haven't. I absolutely love this movie. It holds a very special spot in my heart. So yeah, number 5, Clash of the Titans. Number 4 is going to be Escape from New York. So I watched this 2 days ago, and I've always known about it. I remember my dad telling me in Blockbuster, like I remember so vividly, we were walking through Blockbuster and he's like, that movie's cool, you would like that a lot. For some reason, I just didn't want to watch it. Well, Dad, 20 years later, you're right. And it was just so cool. Kurt Russell is this just awesome, grizzled action anti-hero in Snake Plissken, and the president is stranded in New York. And at this time, in this dystopian future, all of New York is a prison. It's an open-air prison. There's no guards, there's no nothing. They just drop these violent criminals in the city of New York and they're like, figure it out. The president crash lands there, so they have to send Snake Plissken in to get him out. And it's just awesome 80s action. It is just that wonderful creative trio of John Carpenter, producer Deborah Hill, and director of photography Dean Cundey. So it has that feel that I love so much. Kurt Russell does a great job. It's got some awesome action. A few of the scenes don't really hold up today, but dude, I was just hooked from start to finish. A lot of the effects really held up. It didn't take you out of the movie. It's got some great action scenes, and again, Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken, just one of the coolest characters ever, man.
I'm not a full Plissken.
Call me Snake.
So I really enjoyed this movie. Number 4 for me is Escape from New York. Number 3 is the greatest werewolf movie of all time, in my humble opinion, and that is An American Werewolf in London. Director John Landis had this idea for a while, and he finally was able to get it made. And it was after his success on the Blues Brothers, and it perfectly blends horror and comedy. I watched this movie not too long ago. I do own it on Blu-ray, and there was a few parts that genuinely made me laugh out loud. It's just a very well-written, tight script. David and Jack are written to seem like actual friends, right? It doesn't seem forced. They have great chemistry together. The way they banter back and forth with one another. Sometimes you go watch movies that came out a while ago and it'll seem dated. No, this seemed very genuine, and you could tell, like, okay, this is how people actually were in 1981. It's a great movie, and of course, the practical effects are still unparalleled. That transformation scene is the greatest werewolf transformation scene ever, and it's all done practically. Take notes, Hollywood. Stop with the CGI. Give us practical effects. And when this movie wants to be funny, it does it really well. When this movie wants to be scary, it does it really well. The wolf is terrifying. Some of the imagery and the scenes that are crafted, it is a wonderful, wonderful movie. It's very well made. And again, in my opinion, it is the greatest werewolf movie ever made. And coming in at number 3 is An American Werewolf in London. But our runner-up at number 2 is the movie Stripes. I have grown up with my dad quoting this movie my entire life. And I've watched it a couple years back finally, and I was laughing my butt off. You have Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, John Candy, a bunch of other funny actors. PJ Souls is in this, and it's just Bill Murray at his best, and Harold Ramis. This movie was so freaking funny. There's so many quotable one-liners.
Chicks dig me because I rarely wear underwear, and when I do, it's usually something unusual.
So many funny scenes, and it's cool. The last time I spoke to my granddad before he passed away, him and I talked on the phone, and I was like, yeah, I just watched Stripes. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, man, it's hilarious. He's like, yeah, I know. So that was fun. That's a cool little memory that I get to have. Like, you know, the last time him and I spoke, we talked about that movie, so that was fun. But dude, if you haven't seen Stripes, go watch it, because that movie is gonna make you just crack up. Just the humor just works for me, man. Stripes is absolutely hilarious. Like I said, I quote it all the time. My dad quotes it all the time. He's been quoting it my entire life. It's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, dude, and it comes in at number 2. But without a doubt, there was never even a question in my mind, the best movie of 1981 is Raiders of the Lost Ark. I have already talked about Indiana Jones a couple of times on this channel, and I'm gonna keep doing it, dang it, because Indiana Jones is one of my all-time favorite characters. I will put a link up to that video somewhere up here. And I've done an Indiana Jones review series. I've done an Indiana Jones ranking. If you want to see those, I'll go ahead and put a link up here somewhere for that as well. But dude, I absolutely love this movie. I think it is a perfect movie. It is a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing wrong with this movie. It holds up so well. It ages well. The score by John Williams, the acting, the story, where you had these powerhouses, right, of Steven Spielberg coming off of Jaws in '75, and George Lucas coming off of Star Wars in '77, and then Empire Strikes Back in '80, teaming up and coming together to create a brand new character who's an absolute icon. You can see his silhouette and you know exactly who Indiana Jones is. And it all started with Raiders of the Lost Ark, which if you've seen my ranking, spoiler alert, you will know that that is the best movie in the franchise. It is one of my favorite movies of all time, dude. Like it's right there, razor thin, with, you know, Indy being a favorite character of mine and Raiders being a favorite movie of mine. There's nothing wrong with this movie. I adore Raiders of the Lost Ark. I will never stop talking about how great it is. And without a doubt, it is the best movie to come out in 1981. And if you disagree with me, your opinion is wrong. No, I'm just kidding, man. Of course you're entitled to your opinion. Let me know down below in the comments, what is your favorite movie of 1981? Is there something I left out that you think should be on this list? Is there something I brought to your memory that you forgot and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that movie? Let me know down below what you think. And please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. It helps out the channel tremendously. And remember, I love you, Jesus loves you. That's our story and we're sticking to it. See you guys.